Hi, Mark Mappin and Todd Chung here. We want to welcome you to our first Zoom meeting. So we're excited about doing it. And we've got some good, valuable information for you today. So we'll probably go through the slide. The first thing we want you to know, this is going to be videoed. So if later during the questions and answers, if you want to talk, it'll probably be recorded and your picture may appear somewhere. So, so our agenda today. So what we want to do is talk about how you can make money and what's happening in the market right now. What'd that say, Todd? Put it back up there. You were too fast. Okay, so Todd Chung, 248-497-9195. Very good sign. That's good. So we suggest anybody who wants to talk about their deals, bring your signs to the meetings. So, so really what we want to talk about is like what's happening in the real estate market, what we see coming, what the opportunities are, and then I really want to address, like, we've been through times like this before, and I probably led the charge up the hill for disaster. So I want to talk about what I learned from that, because it's the lessons that I think that everybody can learn from. So, so let's go to the next slide. Cool. Disclaimers. So we're always going to be giving you real estate disclaimers. Real estate by its very nature is risky. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. We can't guarantee a profit or a loss. We don't provide legal or accounting or contracting advice. Second disclaimer, and this is the disclaimer, says don't sue us, because everything we say is a lie. If you like it, try it and see how it works, okay? So we'll go to the next slide. So a little bit about myself. I've been doing this for 40 years plus, and I was been a real estate agent and investor. At one time had 350 rental properties. At one time did 8 fine fix and flips a week. At one time decided 8, if I can do 8, I can do 80. That led to a total disaster and eventually to a bankruptcy. But the bankruptcy was just shortly right before the crash of 2008. So really, I was like the leader in the market, because at that point, everybody followed me, because what's happening today is what happened in 2008. So if you talk to Maureen, who's helping us produce this, you talk to anybody that's in the REO business, you're seeing a rapid increase in BPOs and people starting to get in trouble. And maybe it might take 5 to 6 or 8 months, but you're going to see that trickle down, and you're going to see property values fall, and we're going to be right back in the situation like in 2008. That's my personal opinion only. So the question is what do you do with that? Well, I was just supposed to talk about myself, and now I'm already off and running. Okay, so what I do today is I'm a lead generator, and I got to have somebody like Todd, because the thing about Todd is I've never met anybody that knows so many buyers. So the key to anybody in wholesaling or real estate is you got to be able to have the buyers to be able to put the deal together. So Todd, you're an incredible resource. So we'll want to get into that in more detail along the way. So let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to quickly give you my story, because it's basically where we are today. So what happened to me was I had the big office. I had 30 real estate agents. We were doing fine fix and flip. We were running a nationwide donation program out of it. I had like 3,500 square feet. I had over $3 million of borrowed money in doing fine fix and flip. Now, all that hit where the market started to go down. So I don't have to tell you. And then it's the same thing that happened to, I don't care if you had 4 houses, you had 8 houses, 20 houses. When the market starts to implode and drop down, and real estate by its very nature is that, you know, you quickly run out of cash. So you need to go borrow money to be in the real estate investing game, or at least a lot of people do. And when that market starts to drop, then there's all kinds of problems that are going to be addressed. It's like your property value is not there. So the question is what do you do in that situation? And I, I had to learn a lot of it the hard way. So we'll go to the next slide. I want to tell you, these are things that I'm recommending that everybody should be looking at. So, and I think that you're going to see all kinds of changes as a result of what's going on. Like there's going to be a whole lot less office space occupied. So I would work on today, like how you deal with the market, is to remove all your overhead. And that means basically you need to go as much virtual as you can. And let's jump to the next slide. So one thing that I do today, and I've been doing since 2008, is I use the World Labor Force. I have minimally 10 people in other countries working for me. Todd and I have a person in the Philippines that is calling people to get leads. If somebody was talking to him, they would not know that he was talking to him from the Philippines. He has a local phone number, and it works very well. Todd, you want to talk about that for just a second? The effectiveness of that?
No, the benefit, in my opinion, the benefit of having someone like in the Philippines or somewhere else is, of course, the cost. You know, it could be anywhere from $4 an hour to $8 an hour, you know, depending on their experience level, what they're doing for you. You don't just need to use them for making phone calls. I mean, there's a lot of busy work people use them for, you know, sorting out lists and getting phone numbers, email addresses, things like that. I know people that just they might use one to make phone calls and then might use one just to do the texting, you know, things like that. So, and the big thing is, you know, is I guess the family dynamics here in the United States. You hire someone here and it's just either they're, you know, they're just not, I just don't have a good experience with it. And, you know, the cost per hour for someone here is a lot more. I mean, a lot more, you know, they're not going to, and then they might, you know, steal your business too. You got to watch out for that, you know? So, I think having someone, you know, to do some work for you, you know, if you're paying, you know, you got to look at it. What's best time for you that, you know, what are you, what am I trying to say? You know, should I be doing something? I got to hire someone, you know, $5 an hour to do, you know.
Where's your time best spent?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So since 2008, and it's developed over time, my whole thought process is that I put something together, and I'm the one usually doing it. But once I've got the system built, then the question becomes, how do I replace myself with other people and put a system together that works? So right now, today, if I hired a brand new person from India to go to work for me, had a 4-year college degree, is an experienced internet marketer, starting salary, they're working 40 hours a week. Their starting salary is $250 a month. So that puts me at a distinct advantage over my competition. And the team that I've got working with me right now have been with me since 2008 as a majority. So we pretty much know each other. We know each other's families. Thanks to Zoom, we were able to talk. And it's an extraordinary thing when people discover that. So look at your labor costs. Look at what you can do to change things. Let's go to the next thing. Next slide. So,
and also, Mark, what we could do, I mean, what people should look at, which I did in the last 3-4 weeks, is just go through bank statements of what you might be signed up for and see if you really use it. You know, try to cut your costs there. I mean, because you could sign up, someone might, like, I would give you a quick example. I got a few things, but I was on Bigger Pockets. I was a pro member, and it was charging me every month, and or maybe once a year, but it's something I really don't use.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much, anything I haven't used in 30 days or 60 days, I just cut it out, you know, and before you know it, you just cut out, you just saved $100 somewhere.
Exactly.
You know? Or you got to start using it. It's got to make your money. So don't waste money that way.
So everybody right now should be starting to look at, if you've got properties that you've got them over leveraged, or you've got properties that aren't rented, it's costing you, there's certain actions that need to be taken. And I'm going to have her jump, Maureen can jump forward one slide. So the very first thing is you need to get honest with yourself. So in 2008, so here's where I was in 2008, and see if this seems familiar to you. So what you've got is you've got a bunch of houses and you've got 2 or 3 vacant. So you're saying, well, when I get this house fixed or sold, then the money from that will pay this or that. And what I should have been doing was saying, just being honest with myself and sitting down and saying, these are the properties I have. What is their real value? What can I liquidate them for right now today? And then find out, look at all my assets, look at my liabilities. And if your net worth is negative, then I'm going to say that you actually should consider looking to do a bankruptcy. And I've done bankruptcy, and it wipes the slate clean, and you're able to start over. It's not something that you want to admit. It's a difficult decision to come to, but you need to honestly sit down and be honest with yourself and where you're at. And then when you start looking at all those assets, I should have had properties that I was like doing loss mitigation with. And by that, I mean, if it could have been a rental property, I should have reduced prices. I should have been forgetting about trying to maximize everything and just look at what it was bleeding me and take action. So you really want to sit down and look at that. And let's go slide forward again.
Then, and also you gotta, I'm sure the big thing is, then you got a clean slate and you learned a lot, great education, and don't get caught up in that same, you know, predicament. You got to be careful.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, things
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah, when I crashed, I couldn't even deal with real estate. I actually, here I'm running a major real estate club. I've had as many as 200 or 250 people come into it, and I'm the role model, and I'm totally upside down and don't want to admit it to myself. So it's like, that was tragic. I also had a major competitor at the same time. And I was doing it at a much larger scale than most people. You know, they got 8 or 9 houses and I got 100. So all leveraged, leveraged houses are great when the market's going up. It's not so great when it's going down. So you've got to be able to act and just take it as a learning experience and move forward. So, but here's the good news. There's major opportunity when that's happening in the market. There's all kinds of ways that you can make money, and that's what we want to bring out today. All I'm trying to point out too is you need to also be adjusting yourself to what's going on. And having a big office and all that other stuff is all great, but it's all, we all got looking good conversations. We want to look good to everybody, and you just got to put that aside, and move forward. So some of the things, like right now, if you've got a house that's in disrepair, or you've got a house that's got rehab that's incomplete, no money to finish it, if you've got a house you just bought to hotel, if you've got rental property that needs to be leased, if you've got a property that's over leveraged and you need to sell it on terms, so because in this market, when something, and that's where a lot of people are going to be, when you've got a ton of debt on the house, then your exit strategy probably needs to be seller financing, because then you can move it. But what you want to do is you want to look for people that know how to deal with those situations. And the one mistake I see that I've made, and I see other investors making, they're depending upon going into an investor network to try to sell their property when they should be listing their property on the MLS. So I know Todd and I've worked out programs where if you want to just list the house with this and you want to sell it yourself, no problem. And you don't owe us any money. It's called an open listing. But we're going to work on getting it gone for you, and we're going to work on getting it gone at a price that probably will exceed where you're going to end up dealing strictly with investors or doing it on your own. So you should absolutely talk to us on that. You want to
Yeah,
also write, go ahead.
yeah. What I was going to say, just a couple quick examples. I had two properties that I owed a lot of money on, okay, just recently, and I couldn't sell them on the MLS. And then all this happened, right? You know, I had them sold once, had them sold twice, and then the deals fell apart, put them back on the MLS, and then all this happened. So I was able to talk to my lender, and we agreed, because I owed money on these properties, and he allowed me to sell them on a land contract with a balloon, you know, like a 12-month balloon, and one of them I think is a 24-month balloon. So I was able to even get a higher price for these properties because we were doing seller financing, and we actually were getting 20 grand down on both of them. One was a 12-month balloon, the other one's a 24-month balloon. And so that's an example right there. It's an exit strategy. They're going to put a lot of money down. They're going to fix it up. They're going to pay $500 a month, pay the taxes, all that good stuff. And if they don't pay, you know, we got the money down, and then we do it again. Hopefully we get a little correction, and the house will be a little more fixed up. But I'm pretty confident they seem like we kind of vetted the people that that are buying them, and they got good income and all that good stuff. So that's just a great strategy for sure.
Yeah. And here's where you really need to be is if you're handling all this on your own head, like what you're going to do, that's called a monologue. But when you put it in a dialogue where you're bringing stuff to, and you're welcome to bring the issues to us, and we'll look at it and see what we can do to help give you ideas on how to solve those issues. But when you put it in a dialogue, you're going to have aha moments. Let's say you've got a house that's really bad that you owe money on, then you might be selling like a couple of good houses to another investor. You can bundle that one and put it in. So here's these two great deals, and you're going to take this other one. So
Right.
there's a lot of solutions to what's going on. But I highly recommend using open listings in the MLS, because that way, if you get a deal and you sell it, great. If we get it sold for you, then you're going to be loving us. So that's an approach. So
Hey, Mark, are you talking about the donations during this? Because that's another strategy.
absolutely, I've got a slide
Okay.
on. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
We'll
no,
wait
that's
then.
good. So if you look at this is our meetup site. You'll see that there's 5,799 members. So if you've got a good deal or you've got problem properties, that's a great place to take it to. There's a discussion board. You can email out the entire group. You can take your deals there because you want to look at that. And another solution, which is on the next slide, is Craigslist. So here's the scoop. Craigslist is an incredible source. It's probably one of the most looked at URLs on the internet. And I handle a bunch of national companies, and we advertise in every state. I have a whole team that puts ads up. We use paid for ads. So let's say that there's investors in California, and you've got a house here in the Detroit metropolitan area. You can actually put an ad. You can buy an ad in Craigslist do a paid for ad for $3.50 or $5, and in the California market with your house here with all the details. And when California, when their garage is like more expensive than 6 houses combined here, that becomes appealing. So there's some exit strategies you need to look at in this market. So, so let's go to the
Yeah,
next slide.
I just started utilizing Craigslist recently, which I wish I would have been using before. It's a great, along with Facebook and all the different group pages that, yeah, so definitely that should be. There's another one called Connectors Investors. It's free. That is also, you could put deals on there, and there's people all over on that one also.
That's great. So sorry, we're closed. That means it's time for you to shut your office down, get it sold, give it back to the landlord, mitigate it, so you've got some money to keep going on. It's really interesting because we had this huge real estate company, and I'm still involved with the company. We're incredibly small. We have no office, no overhead. We use virtual people, and we're profitable. So when you remove all the overhead, what you're left with is called profit, and you don't have to do as much volume. So this is a little extreme. Is
Like,
you need to get rid of your car you're making payments on and get a beater. Now you can get some really nice looking beaters. So this is the beater you want to drive when you go to meet your creditor, and you want to negotiate a deal. But getting a beater makes total sense. So I've got a nice car I drive, and then I got a 1995 Plymouth Voyager. So if I got to go meet somebody and let them make up their own mind, I think that everybody should take a Dave Ramsey course. So here's the deal. You get yourself in a situation where you're over leveraged in a lot of properties. So then you need to develop structures. I repeat this course as much as I can. And I tell you, his program absolutely works. And I can tell you it's worked really well for my wife and I. And so go online, look up Dave Ramsey. It's just good common sense. And I highly recommend taking his courses, and they're really inexpensive to take. So let's go to the next slide. So let's talk about making money in this game. So, and I think right now the place to be is in the wholesale game. And that's changed. It's changed in a way that I know that you've done business, Todd, or doing business. So,
yeah.
So right now my whole game is to get a lead, give that lead to Todd or another person I use. But Todd's like, actually, I've been giving all my leads to Todd right now because he's doing a really good job with them. But so like, you want to just kind of walk people through the process and what you're doing in that arena?
Yeah, it's definitely has changed in the last few weeks, but which is good in my mind. I think there's more sellers out there for sure, and they're going to sell at lower prices. But not just that, the hard part is the buyers. Half the buyers are not buying right now. There's still a lot of buyers out there though, and but there's a lot of different exit strategies now. Or when you're getting a house under contract, you just offer them a price, and if they accept it, great. But then you got to be more creative. What if I could seller finance it? What if we put $2,000 down and pay you $400 a month for 20 months, and then on month 21, I'll pay it off in full. And so just to give you a quick example, I had a few of these this week, but this one particular one, they wanted $20,000 for a house, and there was no way. It's probably a $10,000 house, but I structured it, say, look, the only way I could do the 20 is if we put a couple of grand down, pay you $400 a month, and they'll give us our resources to fix it up and get it moving. So you're overpaying for a house, but it's on terms. So an investor could step in there and they might put down $6,000 or $7,000. And let's say they put down 7 and they take over those payments. You take the 5 and give them the 2. So you just you assigned it for $5,000. So there's more buyers that way. They might not have, or they might not want to spend all their money to buy it right out. So that's just one way, another way of doing it. And but you got to get them. An empty house is a good property to get now, because now you don't have to worry about evicting a tenant or a homeowner. You know, a lot of homeowners, it's just hard to find a place right now, but I'm sure that's going to open back up. And then also taking over someone's mortgage payment is huge. And you might do a lease option type deal with the owner. I got a couple we're doing right now. We're not even giving the owner any money at all, but remember, they're like $7,000 to $10,000 behind on their mortgage payments. So we got to step in and pay that. And they're not living in the house anymore. So we'll take over the payments for 4 years. And then I'll find someone to, lease option, sandwich lease option it to. They'll put down the whatever you call it. Is it a
It's option consideration that's non-refundable that gets applied towards the purchase.
Exactly. And you give them a couple of years to get, to make the payments and you agreed upon a price you'll sell it to them for. It all works out really well, and if they do it, and if they need 3 years, then the price goes up a little bit more. It's just the way you structure it. There's so many different creative options and ways to do it. So those are things you got to think of. If you're just going into a house saying, I'm going to buy this house at this price, you got to have these different things in your bag. Like I'm saying, seller financing, lease options, open listings, things like that. You got to have these creative things available, so you could walk away with a higher percentage of the deals.
And remember, in 2008, when the market crashed, people still have to pay rents. So the rental market is still a strong market, and there's a lot of buyers for that. And if they can get into it where it's 100% leveraged, they're willing to pay a little bit to get into that. So there's a lot of opportunity there, what Todd's talking about. That's huge. So, and the other thing you want to do is you want to look at, now that the market's crashing, that means more BPOs, more REOs. So actually getting your real estate license and getting into that business makes sense. Another thing that I see Todd doing is once we go to look at a property, he's putting that person that he's looking at the property with into a follow-up list. So he's following back up with them all the time, because their situation is going to change. Like I know there's some deals we've looked at recently, like there was one in Detroit where the lady thinks it's worth $80,000. And we know it's, in order for it to go together, it needed to be more like 45 or 50. And she's dragging taxes. She's a lot of things. So, and that one had an underlying land contract that we could step into. So Todd's made the offer to her, but he's going to stay in communication with her. She got insulted by it, but he'll keep talking to her because that situation's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So,
right. And no one's going to step in and pay what she wants. So we just got to be the first one she calls when she's definitely ready, tired.
And that day will come. So it's all a pipeline. So.
And I had a couple yesterday, Mark, where we talked to them a few months ago, or I talked to them a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Either I couldn't, on one of them they wanted 45,000, another one wanted 80, another different one wanted 80, and so I sent them a text, because a text message is very powerful, in my opinion. I just text them, hi, we talked, you talked to us a few months ago, and I was just reaching out to see if you're still in the market to sell. And they came back, yes, right? And then I text them back saying, well, what would be the lowest you would consider for your property? And they give you, the $80,000 lady said 50. Okay.
Yeah.
And the $45,000 person said 45. All right. So I came back with seller financing at that point. Okay. And said, look, if I could do this, 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 and I explained it all in a text. And so I'm going to follow back up today with a phone call and see, see if I could do the seller financing. If not, then I can move into, well, that's the only way I could get you this amount of money that you're looking for, for us to pay cash, and it has to be at this, kind of like that. So it's just, it's, following up with text, my opinion, text first, and then a phone call after that. After you're talking to them by text 2 or 3 times, then you need to pick up the phone. You need to get back out there, things like that, and figure out why. By now you should already know why they want to sell. Try to fix that problem. Now you could talk about an open listing, right? You could talk about other things, and so.
And so, like we talked about, one of the things to do would be to get your real estate license. Maureen, who's on with us, or if you just contact Todd, he'll get you connected. You want to find a real estate company that's investor friendly, that's into the BPOs, the REOs, and also does retail. So this is that's pretty much Villa Real Estate here in Maureen. There you go. So this is the number you want to dial.
No, just call me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, call me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll set you up. There's so much benefit. If you're a wholesaler, if you're an investor, or if you want to be an investor, I really suggest, no matter what, get your real estate license. It's easy to get. You could do a virtual class online. I could give you $30 off for that class, which is good. The guy, I know, Kevin George and Namir George. Kevin's the son. He teaches a good class. I know there's other classes out there. I just know that class because that's where I took it. And I know Kevin. So he gives me coupons for $30 off, and I'll send you the link where you can sign up and get the $30 off. But anyway, the point is, I think eventually they're going to make getting this real estate license a lot more difficult than it is right now. All right. And if they do that, you might have to take a 6-month class and things like that. But here at Villa, we do have a lot of great resources that I'm blown away by. And because of everything that's going on, I get to come into the office, make phone calls, do things like that, and reorganize my business. And we're having virtual meetings with actual really good content where I already learned how. It took me 2 seconds to set up a Facebook page as an agent, and it looks professional. It's perfect. And I didn't do it. I just typed in a few things, boom, it's up there. They taught me sending out automatic listings to potential clients. It's it's on a platform called Real Scout, and it looks 100 times more professional than just going off the MLS and setting up automatic emails. You'll be blown away by it.
And
okay?
it's easier for the clients to use, Todd.
Very, very easy for the clients to use. They just hit interested, and boom, boom, boom. All the pictures show up right from their phone or laptop or computer, and it's just so user friendly, and it makes you look good. I mean, it has my picture on it, has everything on there. They can't forget me, and it makes me look like I know what I'm doing. All right, so and then there's Instagram. We just had a meet up about Instagram and how to use it as a business, as a wholesaler. So just a lot of different training, and I'm telling you, it's really for new agents and for experienced agents. And there's no cap. The best thing, there's no cap with Villa. So call me and I'll explain everything, and we could talk.
So I'm actually involved in another real estate company that I've been partners with for 30 plus years. And I'm telling you investors, this is something you should seriously look at doing, going to Villa. And the other thing is really what Todd's talking about is multiple streams of income. So the great part of it is now you can go virtual with all this stuff, and he's generating income from listings, from selling commissions, from doing the investing. So it's multiple streams, and that's what you got to look at.
Yep.
Let's go to the next slide. Oh, get a license. There you go. All right, next slide. So, now we get to introduce Todd. So this is what makes Todd really good for me. He's like, he had umpteen years in the mortgage business. He's plus 25 years. He served as a Marine. He's the licensed real estate agent. He's done tons of find, fix, and flips. He's done a lot of rental properties, and he's incredibly, today is like majorly into the wholesale game. So he attends every meeting that you can go to. So he's a really good networker. So makes a really good person to work with. And again, I'm going to repeat open listings. Talk to us about that. Let's go to the next slide. So a lot of you, like if you're upside down, I highly recommend you actually, and your net worth's not there, look to do a bankruptcy. Get a fresh start. You can rebuild your credit in a year with the way things are set up. But if you're upside down, you'll never get out of that. So you need to seriously consider that. It's a very freeing experience. You feel horrible about it at the time, but it's something that some people should consider. And some of you don't even realize it's coming, but if you get yourself upside down, look at it. Next slide. So online marketing. So a lot of you know me just as the old man that that puts on real estate meetings. But the truth is, I know, I understand, I produce extraordinary, serious results in the internet world. Today, I do internet marketing for myself and about 45 customers that have been with me over the last 10 to 15 years. I'm majorly just focused on doing it for myself today. Their businesses are all over the U.S. I focus primarily on service-related businesses like what you're going to be doing in the real estate. I've taught internet marketing at 2 different colleges. I've handled 3 major national franchises. I handled all their internet marketing for them. And what I'm going to be doing over the next months, I'm going to be showing you guys how to tackle your online marketing. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. So we know that the market's a changing market. We're going to be going from a buyer's market to a seller's market. That's just the opposite. We're going to be going from a seller's market to a buyer's market. So, and that's where we're at today. And there's huge opportunities in that. So you want to take a look at that. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I noticed in the last 4 weeks, there is still a lot of buyers out there that are getting mortgages looking for primary residence. They have good jobs still, and I would say they're at under $150,000 price range, anywhere from 80 to 150. So they could get a mortgage cheaper than renting. And they're taking advantage of this market because, in my opinion, I don't think it's crashing, but a house that we might see listed right now for $100,000, we might make an $80,000 offer on it, you know. We might not get it, but I'm sure we're going to get it under 100 grand. And a lot of, there's still like the company that Carrington Mortgage Services, they have not changed any type of programs or guidelines and things like that. And there's other mortgage companies out there are still doing the same thing. Because I definitely heard that, like Chase Bank, they want you to put 20% down. They increase their credit scores to 740 or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what their guidelines are, but I've been hearing some things like that. So some of the big banks are getting more strict, but these other mortgage companies are still going strong. So there's still programs out there for people to buy houses.
I'm going to speak just for a quick second on the forbearance issues. So a lot of people during this pandemic were experiencing some difficulties with, paying their bills as they were waiting for their unemployment or their stimulus checks to come in. And personally, if they didn't understand the forbearance process that might have been being offered to them by their mortgage company or their servicer of their mortgage, some of the restrictions or the guidelines were that when their forbearance program, which was probably a 6-month program, was over, say in September, they might have to pay the entire amount that they are in arrears back at one time. Some of them are offering some other programs where they might be able to tack that onto the back end, but it's going to come with additional interest, or they're going to have to make some kind of a payment arrangement to get caught up where they're paying, more each month or whatever. Those were kind of some of the guidelines and the stipulations that were put in place. And so anyone who might have gotten themselves into that situation now might be in trouble. So that's why we would be seeing the market turning from a seller's market back to a buyer's market, which was what we experienced in the downturn in 2006 through probably 2014. And that's pretty much what I wanted to add to that.
Hey, Maureen.
And as a real estate agent, we got to take advantage of that. We got to help these people sell their houses. If they want, if they have to sell them, we could maybe take over their payments on the other side of things and find another buyer to come in and lease option it. So there's going to be a lot of different ways to help people.
Yeah, and then you'll see an increase in short sales again, because if they have to ask their bank for forgiveness from what the market is going to allow them to sell the property for, because it's not going to be worth, what they're underwater on the loan, then it's back to the short sale business, right?
And the short this will be a lot better than it was back last time around, because they're more familiar with it and they have the processes in place to get them done probably in 45 to 60 days, things like that.
And there were more restrictions with the lending process this time than there were the first time around. And so it won't be as dramatic or as substantial where, it seemed like, practically every other property you came across before, was upside down in their mortgage. A lot of people are not that way today, but, with the circumstances for not being able to work and being laid off and, looking for a little assistance there, they might have gotten behind. What were you going to say, Mark?
Yeah, maybe if you could just give them a definition of forbearance so there might be some people that don't understand.
Okay, so the forbearance is basically where you're asking your mortgage servicer or mortgage company to allow you a predetermined time to not have to make your payments. Now, that doesn't come without interest, but what it does do is it comes without penalty or without, nicking your credit at that time, because they've agreed not to report you to the credit bureaus, but it's for a very specific amount of time. They will allow you, like I said, some of them will allow you to tack it on to the back end of your mortgage. So, you would still be into them for, a certain length of time. You're going to extend that out, those extra payments and so on and so forth. And then, like I said, it comes with interest. It just doesn't come with penalty. And some of those companies, though, actually, like I said, I was reviewing some of the terms with some that were brought before me. And, the first option was pay it all back as soon as it's due. Okay, well, I don't know, if the average person was paying $1,200 a month and you did that for 6 months, who's going to have $8,400, right then and there to, catch your mortgage back up, right? Not most people. So, like I said, they're going to have to make out some payment arrangements, or they're going to have to tack it on to the back end, for the forbearance. So I just wanted to touch base on that, because that really will determine, the buyer's market versus the seller's market, because then your buyer has the upper hand, because they're the ones that are saying, this is what we're willing to pay for a property today.
Got it. Well, let's jump forward because of time constraints. Next.
How to make money.
Yeah. So we're just actually, if you look at it like how to make money, Maureen just described it, really what your job to do today is to look for problems that people have. And then once you figure out how to solve those problems, then the money will come. So like, for example, where people are going into a forbearance agreement or they're getting in trouble, then eventually what's going to follow is short sales, so, and that Todd referred to that. And if there was people that used to make their total livelihood off of just doing short sales. So you really want to start looking at all the different opportunities there are there, and then find one that fits your niche. So, and that's a lot of the stuff we've been talking about. Let's go ahead and move forward. So this is extraordinary because, and Todd's the person to lead this, is we're going to start doing a networking meeting. Next Thursday will be our first networking meeting. And Todd's going to put rules together where you've got 1 minute to present your property. And it's going to be about opening up a dialogue and everybody seeing what everybody else is doing. And then also, if you're a service related business, like a contractor, or you supply services, you'll be able to talk about those. So it's going to be like a major opportunity for everybody to get there. We're going to record them, and then we're going to send those videos out to be seen over and over by other people. So it's almost like you're able to put together a 1 minute commercial for yourself or the property you want to move. And then we're going to help you market that out into the real estate arena. So, and Todd, you'll have to be the one to put the rules together around that. So
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. We could talk about, not deals, just like you said, maybe have some questions on, if anyone needs help on anything, contractors, like you said. And also, I got a few deals I'm excited to talk about, some seller financing type deals that people might, know someone that's looking for a place to live inside. So where they could take over someone's payment and get in there cheap, and they can't get a mortgage yet, things like that. In all areas, not just in Detroit. I mean, mostly on the outskirts, all the way to Oxford, downriver. So it's the Trenton, so stuff like that, all over the place.
that's huge. So I'm going to put you on the spot. So will you do a either 5 or 10 minute tip each time you do the meeting? Would be something. Boy, am I glad I tuned in on this, because Todd gave me this.
Yeah, I'll see if I got any good ones, but yeah, let's try that. That's a good one. I'm excited.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. See what. Oh, so this is a really good slide, because what we've done is everything we do, we record, and we've now got somebody that's going in and re-editing a lot of the old stuff we got where we were technically impaired when we did the recording. And he's cleaning all that up. And I highly recommend you consider joining the 27 monthly meetup, because you'll have access to all the previous meetings. You'll have access to all the forms you need, buyer favorable purchase agreements, everything you can do. Like one of the things we talked about when the market's turning like this, being able to do lease options where you put tenants at risk and you get above market rents. There's a whole program on how to do that. So all the different things that we do on our meetings, you have available to you to go in and look at. You also get discounts on dumpsters too. So take a look at that. Here's where you'd go, 27monthlymeetup.com, and check it out. It's cool. So we talked about places to get your real estate license, and I think the fact that Todd talked about the coupons that he's got with Namir George, he's a really quality guy, and I've been in the game a long time. There's really only 2 real estate schools that I would recommend, and that's Namir George, and Middleton Real Estate is another good one. But dollars are dollars. Take advantage of those coupons. So, and then right now, if I was an investor just starting out, I would talk to Maureen. There's her phone number, 248-440-7730, or call Todd. And look at all the different tools they've got to make money, especially as an investor. Like the number one tool is you can get instant comps, so connect with her.
Definitely call me, not her. Call me.
Yeah, he'll give you the straight scoop about Maureen.
No, all good. But definitely I could just give you my insight, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of benefits. Just like you said, BPOs. I get listings sent to me every day, and I get to see if I want to take them or not. And I'm working on some really good buyers that are approved, and I'm helping them get approved, all kinds of different things that, why not? I mean, I'm working on a lot of good things that's coming through this office, and I appreciate it. So.
Yeah. And I thought I had a slide in here, but maybe I don't. The other thing is that I work for a national charity, and they accept real estate donations, and we'll do a separate presentation on that, but that's a major thing you want to look at. If you've got upside down property or property that's distressed, and you're looking to, you could look to donate it, get yourself a drive-by appraisal, donate the property, take 30% off your adjusted gross income and carry it forward up to 5 years. If it's a personal property, if you're a corporation, you can take 10% off your net earnings and carry that forward up to 5 years. So there's a lot of opportunity there that people should seriously look at. And you can talk directly to Todd on that too, or me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a couple, Mark. I'm working on a couple of people. I know they're trying to sell their commercial property. I know this is for residential or commercial, but just give you a quick example. They're trying to sell their commercial property at a low number. Their taxes are $19,000 a year, and they're trying to sell it for $50,000 this property. And they're getting killed on the taxes. It's way over assessed. So, I mean, this is a prime, I'm sure this guy could donate, and it's in a great area, nice property. A drive-by appraisal would probably be a few $100,000 and maybe more. Mm-hmm. So, it's just a prime example of if he donated it and got the tax benefits and things like that. There's other ways to maybe qualify too on this program. You got to contact me, where I might be able to, just contact me. I'll just, I'll talk to you more about that, Mark, and maybe, there's a couple other ways of doing it depending on the property. So if something you want to get off your back, maybe we could do an open listing. Maybe we donate it. We'll figure out what's the best way that would benefit someone the best.
Yeah. And if the situation fits, sometimes we can do a partial donation. That's what he's not saying it, but you need to talk to him one-on-one around that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's ways to have a double win out of that. So,
yep.
We're going to stop now and open up for questions. So, And
I got one more thing to ask you, Mark.
okay,
I was thinking real fast. I think, should we have a list of, I don't even know if it's sponsors or whatever you want to call it, like good people, maybe that we vet or know, maybe a roofing company, maybe a siding company, maybe a tax advisor, maybe a real estate attorney. It's just something to think about, title companies, not saying any of the people that are not on the list, property managers, things like that. Maybe that's something,
sure, like a recommendation list,
a
people
recommendation.
that from different people, they can put their recommendations in there, and yeah, so that's good. And then we kind of monitor what's happening. Like we put somebody good in there and they get bad recommendations. And
Well, as long as we provide at least 2 or 3 for people
yeah,
to
Yeah.
choose from.
yeah, that would be excellent, because then at least gives you an opportunity. I know, like, for people all the time asking, where do you get a good real estate attorney? So if we put 2 or 3 of the ones that we know in there that have had a good reputation with investors, then people can call and get quotes. That's an excellent idea. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Or maybe
Yeah.
even on your meetup site, Mark, maybe there's a spot for that. People could, on your discussion board or something.
We could probably put that right in the discussion board and just keep updating it or something. I'll look at that. Or we do
Yeah.
a separate site and keep putting the links out there to the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can have them sign up as affiliates or something along those lines, and then they can put their information up there, and we can ask people for reviews or whatever, that kind of stuff, maybe. Yep.
Right. Or or they could just come to my live meeting, online virtual meeting, and pitch it themselves.
Absolutely. Well, you can recommend that they do that, right, Todd? I mean, you can say, hey,
Sure.
anybody who wants to have their 15 minutes of fame or 10-second elevator pitch, here you go.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a whole lot more of these kinds of meetings with different speakers, probate attorneys, stuff like that coming up. And then every other week we're going to do the networking. So we're excited about all this, and we're going to open it up for question and answer right now. So let's hear your questions.
Going live.